Hey, good morning. Today is another one of our first fives. We're looking at this passage today from John chapter 12. What's fascinating to me about this passage is it really helps us begin to think about one of the values that we have at Connection Point Church. And one of those values is this, that we want to have extreme generosity. We want to live lives that are generous in all things, our money, our time, our talent, whatever it is that we have that we can gift to others. We want to be extremely generous because we think that's who God is, and we think that's how Jesus lived, and we think we're called to live the same way. And so we really see a picture of generosity that honestly, I find myself empathizing with the character in the story that we kind of go, ooh, we don't want to be like him. But if we're honest, you and I might find ourselves empathizing with him more than we do the one Jesus celebrates. So here's what we see in John chapter 12. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard and anointed Jesus' feet and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used it to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." Now, I want to be clear, just something about that last line. Jesus isn't saying we shouldn't care for the poor. In fact, what we find throughout the whole scriptures is the people of God are often measured by how they care for the poor and the marginalized and the oppressed. But what Jesus is incredibly clear about in this passage is that extreme generosity for the sake of generosity itself sometimes is warranted. In fact, I find myself kind of agreeing with Judas. If we had sold this, and this was really, really expensive, we could have used this and we could have done great things for ministry. Now, Judas was probably thinking about how I could steal some of that money, but I'm with him in the idea of, hey, we could repurpose this. And what Jesus is saying is sometimes it's the appropriate thing to do the extravagant, extremely generous thing, which might even be another one of our values. We're talking about extravagant love, the extra kind of love, the love that goes above and beyond. In fact, it's really this crazy scene because what we see here is that Mary, when she took this perfume and she poured it on his feet and she used her hair. See, women in that day did not lower her hair. They didn't put it down in front of anyone else. It was this kind of intimate act. For lack of a better way to phrase it, it might be like walking around in your underwear. It was just not something you did. But Mary does it, not because it was this kind of erotic kind of scene, but it was this scene in which Mary says to all those who are near, this man right here, who keeps telling us he's going to die, this man has given me value and worth, and he has helped me to see who I am in light of him and the message he's come to bring, that God's kingdom is coming on earth as it is in heaven. And this message that Jesus came to bring, it was life-giving for women because all of a sudden he began to help people see that it didn't matter whether they're male or female, slave or free, Jew or Gentile, that God's love, seen in his death and his resurrection, it was for everybody. And so in this moment, Mary pours out, she offers herself in the most vulnerable way she can to say to him, I will follow you with everything. In fact, here's how generous I am to you because of how generous you have been to me, because that's who God is. And so sometimes we're like Judas and we're like, we could use that money differently. And then sometimes I have to ask myself the honest question, would I really put that money to better use than being generous to someone else? And so here's the challenge for you and I. Let's today, and if we can't today, let's sometime in the near future, maybe this weekend, but soon, let's find a way to model extreme generosity in a way that doesn't even make sense for the sake of someone else, for the sake of what love looks like lived out, for the sake of Jesus. I hope today you find it's a great day, and may you recognize God's extreme generosity towards you and I. He offers his grace and his love, and it is poured out, overflowing for you and I today. May you spend time in that, and then may you spend some money on somebody else. Go and have a great day. We'll catch you next time for another First Five.